Eneagram predstavlja vrlo staru tipologiju koja opisuje 9 različitih karaktera. Bez obzira imali podrijetlo kod Sufija u Aziji, na Bliskom istoku ili u kršćanskom misticizmu, Eneagram daje opis karakteristika i fiksacija svakog pojedinog tipa ličnosti, kako u osjećajima, tako i u umu i djelovanju. Kao neka drevna psihologija, Eneagram kreće od činjenice da je naš ego čvrsta struktura sa specifičnim ograničenjima i ponavljajućim karakteristikama. Uostalom, kako možemo i zamisliti da imamo slobodu izbora ako smo zaključeni u uvjetovanostima, mehaničkim obrascima i strahovima svoje ličnosti? Eneagram je instrument koji omogućuje razumijevanje ograničenja i otkrivanje novih puteva kako bi se izašlo iz krugova ponavljanja. A razne krugove često dotičemo ovdje, na rubu znanosti. Dobar večer. Stefan Picard završila filozofiju, obrazovala se u Eriksonovoj hipnozi, diplomirala je kao voditelj terapeutskih grupa, između ostalog i u sklopu škole učenja Diamond Logos Faisala Mukadama, gdje kao viši predavač vodi seminare o esenciji i eneagramu kao dijelu tog učenja. Upravo je eneagram i večerašnja tema. Dobar večer.
Hello.
Kako drugačije početi nego pitanjem što je to eneagram?
Okay. So it's a fascinating map that allows us to understand who we are, we human beings. And it elaborates the abundance, actually, because there are 9 types of personality. And each one of us comes into one life in one of the personalities. This map allows us, first of all, to discover the, I would say, the vehicle that we come into in this lifetime. You can come in the vehicle number 1 on the map, and it will be, as long as you're not aware of it, a little bit like your prison. It means that you think you're free, but you are acting and behaving and reacting in a very conditioned and programmed way. You know, it's like a chip that you have inside, but you're not aware of it. So as long as we don't have an understanding of this map, it's very difficult to first of all, know who we are, how we are conditioned in this vehicle, but also to find the key. Because what interests me personally is that as I discover the map of the, we could say, the 9 prisons that we come into, the 9, it's a little bit like a coat that you put on when you are born, and then you don't know you have it, and of course it feels a bit tight throughout life. When you start understanding this map, it's the key to not be entrapped in it. So it's an extraordinary approach to knowing who we are, through knowing who we are not. And this is, yes, what I could say about the Enneagram. And of course, there, like I said, there are 9 types of personality. And perhaps I could, as we're talking about the Enneagram, tell you what these 9 types are.
Dapače, upoznate nas sa Enneagramom.
Something fell. It's
Da,
from...
što je palo, ali ne znam što.
So, if you look at this map, like I said, there are 9 types. And I'll just briefly now describe. And some people, as they listen, will probably recognize either a friend or themselves. I'll start with the number 1. And the number 1 is called the perfectionist. So the number 1 likes rules and likes to know how to do the things in the right way, and will tend to be ruled in their own life by judging themselves for not being perfect, but also they are the reformers. You know, they will tell you how you should be. I'm giving it very...
Tako i treba. Ipak ih ima 9.
Yes, okay. So that's number 1. The number 2, very different. The number 2 is the helper, the pleaser, the one that is going to take care of you, the one that will look as if she only cares about others, but actually is a type that wants to get something back. Okay, that's the number 2. The number 3 is what is called the performer. A little bit what I'm doing here, performing. So the performer is ruled by trying to do things the best, you know, like performing on a stage. So will be driven to work a lot and perform a lot and believe that the value I have is only through what I do, just to say it briefly. Number 4 that you see down there. Number 4 is very different. It's called the tragic romantic. It's like life is really a valley of sorrow, and we are here and we feel so much pain, and that's the meaning, because through that pain we become deep. People who don't feel this, they are superficial. Briefly describe the 4. The 5, we're moving on, they're all different types. The 5 is called the observer. The 5 wants to understand. The 5 is the one that has an extraordinary library. Well, today it's probably in the computer, but is interested in really understanding, and is very much someone that would tend to spend a lot of time alone in that study, not so much concern with being with people. Okay, observing, observing, observing. Number 6 is actually the one that feels the most fear in all the Enneagram. And the number 6, interesting enough, is called the devil's advocate. It's Cassandra. Will tell you all the terrible things that could happen, and we have to get ready. So we have to doubt, we have to be very careful, because terrible things could happen. So, but they are very much also concerned with understanding, to be prepared. Number 7, different type. Number 7 is called the Epicurean. It's also called the Epicurean, you know, the one that wants to enjoy life. Don't give me serious things. I want to have fun and have programs. Never have a minute empty, because that boredom is terrible. So 7 are very light-hearted and, you know, fun to be around, not so responsible. Yes. Then we move on to number 8. Number 8 is the boss. You do what I say. And I am strong, and nobody can beat me. And I learned this since I'm very small, to be on top of things. And one thing that I cannot stand is vulnerability and, you know, sissies. I'm very strong. That's number 8, the boss. Number 9, we come to the one on top, is called the mediator. The number 9 wants harmony at any cost. Please, let's not fight. Let's make sure, and that's their role in the family, let's make sure that everybody is uredu, everybody's okay. So these are the 9 types that are, in a sense, what I describe is the personality types, the prison.
Koja je povijest eneagrama? Kada se danas ukuca u taj vječni izvor znanja internet, nalaze se razne varijacije, pa otkuda u stvari potiče u starim vremenima eneagram i kada se opet probudio i postao tako malo širi poznat u novija vremena?
Okay. It's an excellent question, because today on the internet you can find everything. But not much is there about how far back the origin of this map. It started, as it says, thousands of years ago in a very protected mystery schools that were that wanted to be free from all the conditionings. It didn't matter what religion or what society. They wanted to discover who they really were. So they gathered in small, secret, mysterious mystery schools. And the tradition was orally. It was absolutely, nobody took notes. It was something only from the master, disciple, it was passed on this way. But they developed a lot of exercises to know themselves and to discover who they truly were. Now, the luck we have is that in the early 60s, this not very well known Oscar Ichazo, because he didn't write so much, he's from Bolivia, so, you know, it's a very tiny country. He traveled to the north of Chile and came in contact with a group of people that had come, I think, from Afghanistan or God knows where, and carried this tradition. Something fell here. And he learned from them all the abundance of this map. And he was given permission to bring it out because they felt it was time for the world to understand. So he started teaching, and he started writing, and he also was the teacher to a very famous known Claudio Naranjo, who died only a few months ago, who was a psychiatrist from Chile and worked with people already. And Naranjo was the first one who wrote incredible books about the Enneagram. So at that point, it became available to the Western world, what we call, to us. And then many schools started. And of course, that's when it can also lose the original flavor. So that's the history. It comes from far back, but it comes into our world basically in the early 60s.
Spomenuli ste i psihijatra, pa s obzirom da se psihijatar po profesiji zainteresirao za ovakvu tehniku koju bismo mogli nazvati možda divinacijskom, a možda tek psihološkom. Pravo je pitanje, s obzirom da ovaj opis podsjeća na neki opis karaktera kao u nekakvom psihološkom testu, a i na internetu vidimo da ponekad postoje neki pisani testovi, pa ćemo vidjeti je li to uopće pravi način da se dođe do toga koji bi broj čovjeku odgovarao. Može li se eneagram smatrati nekom vrstom drevne psihološke tehnike ili on i nešto više od toga?
I'm happy to say it's definitely something else. It's definitely something else. It is not, first of all, I would say, obviously psychology can be needed, but the difference, the main difference, I would say, to me, is that the Enneagram is not promising you to become better or different than who you are. So it's not a psychological technique that will go into your childhood and say, oh, maybe there is guilt on the parents or here or there, and we will fix something. I would say the Enneagram is not about fixing anything. And that is what I find very unique and very, it gives freedom. So I would say the difference is the Enneagram teaches us to discover exactly the form of the prison in which we live, and by that, something starts to relax. You are not so much in that grip. And I would say the main outcome, which is to me different than psychology, is that you will learn, you will experience an embracing of all the different parts of you, and of course caring much less about what others think about you, what your inner judge thinks about you.
Na koji način je ovdje zapravo uključena ta razina razmišljanja o čovjeku koji ima nekakvu svoju bit i čovjeku koji ima svoj neki ego koji neki je to opisuju kao tek model interpretacije iskustva. U novije vrijeme ga se spominje na razne načine, ponekad kao neprijatelja, pa moramo se riješiti ega i tako dalje. A s druge strane, ego je onaj program koji nam omogućava da uopće sudjelujemo u životu i slično. Iz perspektive eneagrama, kako se promatra ta struktura koja je u stvari više kognitivna nego psihološka, emotivna ili mistična, s obzirom da je odraz mnogobrojnih naših navika, odraza ponašanja koje su vezane i na kraju krajeva upisane u našu biologiju, u mozak. Kada se u eneagramu kaže ego, što je to i što se s njim treba napraviti? Ubiti ga, rastočiti, razmontirati, uljepšati. Što ćemo s njim?
I know. One of my teachers used to say, you want to fight with the ego, good luck. That's not the point. And of course, many traditions have, by misunderstanding the whole structure of a human being, made the ego the bad guy. Yes? So you were supposed to get rid of it, or fix it, or undo something. And no. In this map, so here I will go to the part that is, will sound maybe slightly more esoteric, but it is said that when we come into this lifetime, into the belly of our mother, we become incarnated, we are connected with the essence, that where the word essentia, essence, comes in, with the essence, the true nature of that human being that has come. And it is connected with everything, and it has certain qualities. Not everybody has the same. And I would say, on top of it, this child comes with these qualities as a gift. And unfortunately, and it's not the parents' fault, it is inevitable that from the moment we come out of our mother's belly, and for the next 4, 5, 6 years, we will lose the connection with these qualities of our essence. So I won't go into the details of this. We can come back later if you want to. But mainly, one connection after the other will happen. It gets disconnected. By the time we are 5 or 6 years old, there is a moment where the sense of connection with your true self, your essential self, will get disconnected. In that moment, thank God we don't remember it, or we only have a vague memory, the feeling is, I would say, probably worse than dying. And in that moment, is so excruciating, but in that last moment, there is a promise that we make to ourselves. One day, I will remember who I really am. And that moment is when the ego comes into place as a structure that will function in this world, will manage to communicate. Like you said, it's very, very important to have an ego. People who don't have an ego, a structured ego, end up in mental asylums. We know that. It's dramatic. So the ego comes into place, will allow me to function in society. Whether I'm a 1 or 2 or 3, I will function. But the main thing that I learned in the essence and the Enneagram work is that the ego is the one that carries this sacred mission. I promise I will remember one day who I am. So in the work that we do, the ego is fundamental. You need that ally. I would say ally, not the enemy. And when I approach this, you learn in the work, I approach my ego in, I would say with compassion, rather than with hate or anger, or trying to manipulate and make myself more like this. When I approach my ego with compassion, I would say she, because in this case, she relaxes. So she doesn't have to be so tight in her prison. So she can open to new possibilities. So it's a journey of acceptance, and the acceptance, as we know, it has to go through the body and through the emotion. It's not something that happens because somebody tells me. So it's a journey of somewhere, sometimes I call my work the alchemy of acceptance. So you turn, alchemy, you know, you took the base metal. In this way, by taking it with compassion and love, that looked so heavy and ugly metal turns into gold, which is your true nature, which is behind the enclosed grip of the personality, the gifts that you carry, that are waiting for you and others to enjoy.
Može se, znači, ovu metodu nazvati prihvaćanjem kao u nekoj narodnoj pjesmi. Takav sam kakav jesam, pa eto, možemo pričati o voljenju samog sebe i slično. Kako se radi s ovim instrumentom? Imamo tu mapu, imamo opise tih nekih 9 temeljnih postavki, naravi, karaktera i eto, sad što ćemo s tim? Otkuda krenuti? Kako se uopće može ustanoviti koji tip, osim što na neki način se možda će se nekom dopast neki tip, možda će se u nekom prepoznati na neki objektivan način, ali pitanje, jer na neki način se može na prvi pogled činiti kao da u svakom od nas ima malo od nečega, ali ipak je nešto dominantno uvijek prevladavajuće.
Yes. First of all, one type is your type, period. And whether we like it or not, from the beginning to the end of this life, we will stay there. Now, how do we find out? This is what I would say there are many different approaches. So some people have created tests, kind of psychological tests, which I truly do not like very much, because it's like all psychological tests. They are very limited. So I will tell you how I have learned to work with it, and I find it the most respectful for the people. We cannot do it here, but the map that you see there of the Enneagram, when we start a seminar, is put with chords on the ground, and it's fairly big. And each number has, of course, a card that says the number. And I go through the different types. Depending on the group, I might do the inner triangle that you can see there. But the main thing is, and this again will sound fairly mysterious and esoteric, but it's actually very real. People who know about energies know that, you know, I mean, I won't get into this, but we could charge this table in a certain way, or even the story about the water. You know, we know how the story about how we all have heard about the Japanese who knows that you can charge. Okay, yes. So energy is something very, it's invisible, but it's tangible. Okay. So I go through all the 9 types. The people are there, and I stand in, like if I'm going to stand in the 8, I will allow myself to become that energy, to be the, you know, the padrino, the mafia boss, or whatever it is, and many forms of bosses. And I will describe in the words, but also my energy is embodying that type, so that I'm literally charging that space under my feet to carry all the qualities, even the ones that I'm not talking about, to be that type of personality and energy. So it takes some time. I go through all the different ones. And already people, of course, hearing might recognize themselves or some friend or parent. And then I invite the person, if they think they are a certain type, to have the experience with my help, of course. They will stand in that type and feel what they feel and tell me how they feel it. I want to go back about this deciding what type you are. I find it extraordinary to not tell somebody what type they are. Some people do that. They will meet you and they think they know all about them. They say, you are this, you know, like they say with astrology. You are this, that. First of all, it's a lack of respect to the person. I think you know better about, if you are allowed to discover, you will find your type. Okay. So I don't tell people, they say, oh, what do you think I am? I really tell them, I have no clue. I might have a vague idea, but I will not say. Okay? So just to give you an idea, recently there was a seminar, and there was a woman who did not know what type she was, didn't know anything about this map, and she said to me, I want to do an experiment during the break. Will you blindfold me and put me on different anyone you want, and let me tell you what I feel there. I thought, well, great, you know. And we did this during the break. Amazing enough, I tell you. She went on the 4, the tragic romantic. She didn't know where she was. So it's not her mind remembering what I said about it. She's standing there, and a few seconds, and she said, oh, I feel like crying. Oh, I don't think I want to stay here. There's so much pain. There's so much sadness. And of course, I took her out. I didn't tell her where she was, but to me, it was, once again, the experiential demonstration that her whole being could recognize the energy. I mean, we're not separated from anything in the universe. If you want to, I'll give you another example.
Dovoljan je jedan i zbog toga jer bi možda se moglo još ispričati o eneagramu na koji način tih 9 tipova su povezani sa onim što se obično naziva u tradicijama energetskim centrima i na koji način to sve se može povezati i umrežiti i sa takvom jednom, nazovimo to, mapom ljudskog bića, jer to su biti razne mape ljudskog bića, anatomske, živčane, ezoterične čakre, eneagrami, ko zna čega sve ima u jednom ljudskom biću, od razine kože, materije, strukture kostiju pa do psiholoških oblika i tako. Na koji način se mogu ti tipovi eneagramu povezati sa tim nekim našim energetskim centrima u tijelu?
This is one of the most interesting parts, I would say, of the Enneagram is that the 3 main energy centers in a human being, and I'll just go over them the way they come to me now. This one, you know, the capacity to have consciousness and understand and language, intellect, this center, the mental center. And then we have what we usually call the heart center, the emotional center, and the 3rd center, which is in the belly, which we tend to call hara, like in martial arts. But basically, it's the body center where you are very connected to all the, you know, your presence in your senses. Okay. So, as I started with this one, the 5, 6, and 7 in the Enneagram, their center, privilege center, is this one. They will, from very young age, be functioning from here, of course, different 5, 6, 7, but their main strength comes from their capacity of analyzing, studying, reading, understanding, and looking at life through. I'm saying this as a positive because some people think that mental is not positive. This is very important. They have an incredible clarity here. Okay? Now, of course, I just put this between brackets, they will have less connection with body. Okay? So that gives us a sense that these 3 are strong here. Now, the next center, this one, the 2, 3, and 4. you might not remember the detail of what I said when I talked about them, but they're definitely emotional centers. And all their experiences will first go through here. It doesn't mean they're loving. It means they're very emotional. They're very much in the interaction with others more than the other types. And I have to add that because of that, these emotional types are also what is called image types. They're very concerned about the image they project. Is it lovable? Is it acceptable? But it comes through here. And we have the last center, which is the hara, the belly. And it's the 891, and you can sense it, I said especially the boss, Boss is definitely going to be a body type, and the strength come from here. So they have a very, I would say, an easy connection to their senses, to the body, and probably not so elaborate up here. So these are how the three centers connect to the eneagram.
Znači, to su oni jaki dečki koji se malo muče dok razmišljaju. Nema veze. Možda malo prestrogo. Uglavnom, pitanje je što predstavljaju ove strelice na ovom eneagramu, koje, eto, povezuju preko cijelog tog kruga nekako neke brojeve s drugima, stvaraju neke trokute, raznobojne su. Čemu to služi?
Yes, it's the colors actually don't have any specific meaning right now here. It was to make it visible. But the arrows are very meaningful. If you look at this map, you will see, for example, in the triangle, that the 3, 9, and 6 are connected. And it means that as a 3, I cannot be unaware of the influence and the impact of these other two. So, the arrows are traditionally put there to tell you, if you're not conscious, where you can fall even more. So, I'll give an example. If the 3 is unconscious or in a lot of stress and becomes, let's say, the negative qualities of the personality of the 9, you know what they do? They turn on the TV, they take a beer, they eat potato chips, and they completely clonk out. They fall asleep with themselves. That's an example. If the 3 is conscious of that connection with the 9, can connect with this ability of the 9 of just being present, which is a gift to the 3 who is always efforting and working so hard to perform. So it's all about, if I'm unconscious, I will go into the unconsciousness of that number and the unconsciousness of that other one. The 6 I did not say, but I mentioned the fear, so then fear. If I'm conscious, I will get the qualities of both. So I find these, first of all, you realize you're not trapped in something close, you're connected to the others. So this is very important, to the other qualities. So the 8 is connected, I just was remembered, the 8 is connected to the 2. And the thing is, in the personality of the 8, the vulnerability of the 2, who is so emotional, is very scary if you're unconscious. But when the 8 makes peace with their own vulnerability, then their power becomes true power. You know, it gives a sense of how you work with these.
Na koji način zapravo eneagram može pomoći u svakodnevnom životu? Koja je njegova praktična svrha za naše življenje?
Yes.
Upoznaj sebe, to uvijek vrijedi, ali ljudi uvijek imaju na umu i nešto praktično.
Well, in terms of, I'm not sure it's an answer about the practicality, but when I begin to realize that everybody around me with whom I'm working or with whom I'm in a relationship or in a family belong to one of these 9 types, and say, for example, that my best friend I have trouble with her because she's so, or maybe no, let's say, take one. She's very judgmental, and she's telling me that I didn't do the things the right way, and my cup of tea, I should put it here, not there. It can be very annoying until I realize she's a one. It's not her fault. She came in this lifetime with this obligation of being perfect. And she's putting it on herself, very hard for herself, and on others. So I will have an easier way of relating with her when I realize I don't need to ask her to be like me. She cannot. And I can explain to her, you know, I just discovered you're this type, and it's okay. I'm just a different type. So it can create, you know, we were talking about acceptance of the ego. In this case, it's a beginning of acceptance of the ego of the other. And I would say that this could have very practical effects on our daily life, considering the power trips we get into with people, telling them that they should be like me. You know, 9 types. Who am I to say to somebody else? So it can have a very strong impact. Of course, knowing my type will help me loosen up the prison, and in my case, after so many years, have less of a workaholic and more space to connect with my own value, even if I'm not performing, I would say.
Spominjali ste u više navrata, vezano uz svaki broj koji sa sobom nosi opis nekog karaktera koje, ja se ne mogu ponoviti, svih 9, da svaki od njih ima na neki način osobinu da bude zapravo kavez čovjeka zbog tih osobina, ali u isto vrijeme i da ima, ako mu se pristupi na drugi način, nešto pozitivno za dati. Možete li dati par primjera, recimo da izabrati nekoliko brojeva, odnosno nekoliko karaktera i objasniti kako ista kvaliteta se može čovjeku održavati kao ograničavajuća ili pak u drugom slučaju kako ona zapravo može kriti kao nekakav yin i yang, neka igra crnog i bijelog i nešto pozitivno, mada se u biti radi o istoj osobini. Možda će par primjera osličiti tog doktora Jekylla i mistera Hyda u nama.
Yes, Dr. Jekyll, that's a good example. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, it looks a bit like that. Of course, it's more complex. So I'll take the 3 because, of course, it's something I know. The 3 in this obligation of performing to be loved will be in the personality. The negative trait will be deceit, lying, pretending to be different or better than what she is. Okay? Now, as there is an understanding and a loosening of this, there's a relaxation. And the first quality that will be released in a 3 is that the 3 has the capacity to actually be a pure generator. Like, you know, a generator? Just pure energy. Not lost in the performing. So it's when that movement of going out and performing comes back, the energy is still there. I was going to say, I hope you can feel it.
Samo nastavite, gospodine 3.
Yes. So the energy can be felt, contained, and available, whether it's for talking with a friend or a new project, but it has that quality of being a generator. And the other thing that happens, which is fascinating, is that there is no longer the need to pretend, because the energy has come home. You have, in a way, embraced yourself. So you can be delighted in being truthful and being able for a 3 to say to somebody, you know, in this moment, I don't know how to do that job. That's my truth, instead of pretending. So the quality that it was hidden there comes when there is this relaxation and acceptance.
Evo, izabrat ću ja jedan broj, možda, ne znam, 8, 9. Ko je ona bio šef, veliki šef?
No, I will stay with the 8 because...
Dobro.
Yes, I like the 8.
Koje su te skrivene dobre osobine?
Yes. Yes. The 8 that is lost in this power demonstration, we would say, when there is an understanding and a working on this and an embracing, the 8 becomes what they truly are. They are pure, passionate life force. You know, there is a passion for life. And it's in service even of the people around them. They are no longer in the fight. It is more like my passion and love, passionate love for life becomes available. And they also have a love for truth and freedom, and that is in the service.
Čini se da je eneagram dosta dobar način otkrivanja onog što se obično naziva skrivenim darovima, talentima. Mnogi ljudi su u životu našli neke svoje darove i talente. Isto tako srećemo mnoge ljude koji su sigurni da i oni nešto imaju, ali nisu uspjeli točno otkriti točno što. Nekako možda ih sudbina nije navela ili nisu prepoznali i slično. Na koji način, i meni se čini dosta zapravo čak i očiglednim da ovakva metoda koja rasvjetljava neke osnovne postavke čovjeka, moramo pokazati u čemu je dobar i u čemu bi se mogao najbolje izraziti. Pa koji su, ako jesu, kapaciteti eneagrama za otkrivanje upravo tih, onog za čime svaki čovjek zapravo nekako teže otkriti svoje talente, u čemu je zapravo potencijalno najbolji, pa onda to brusiti?
For some reason I go to the 4. The 4 that seems to be in such suffering, right? And believing that if you're not suffering, life is superficial. When there is an embracing of this and not being stuck in it, the biggest artists are 4s. Van Gogh is a 4. So it's an example of when that trait is transformed, in a way, alchemy, and becomes something that creates beauty. Many, many great artists were Maria Callas, for example, comes now, is mine, is a 4, you know. And it can come in different ways. I'm talking about known artists. But when a 4 allows an embracing of their pain, their creativity, artistic creativity, will come. And it could be in creating a garden. It doesn't have to be something recognized by people. They have a very unusual capacity of sensitivity to beauty, to aesthetics. And so that's how the 4 can discover some of their talents. The 2 has this, we know the 2 being too much pleasing and helping and all that. When they relax and they love themselves, they really become sincerely, what we call sometimes devotional. They have a love, not just for people, that will flow in different ways in their lives. So their gift will be in that form of love, which no longer will be wanting something back. And of course, the forms are multiple. I mean, when we do, in the work with the Enneagram, we do a part where we reconnect with, this is another way, with one of the qualities that you admire the most and you think you don't have. When you go into that and you allow it and you feel it in the body, you realize you have it. And from there the talent will come.
Kada bismo za kraj zaključili priču o eneagramu, bilo točno reći da su te naše strukture, te naši modeli, da tako kažemo, kojih ima 9 prema eneagramu s kojima se rađamo. Na početku ste rekli neka vrsta i zatvora jer nas uvjetuju na ponašanje, naše ponašanje stvara očekivane ishode i tako se vrtimo u krugu. Međutim, u isto vrijeme taj naš zatvor ima potencijal i postati izvor nekih talenata. Kako živimo, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 godina, mijenja li se to automatski ili kako čovjek može zapravo eneagram koristiti u svom životu, kako da ga uči ili su tu samo seminari posredi, to je proces koji vjerojatno nikada ne prestaje. Na koji način uopće može čovjek pomoću eneagrama, tako je to, u kom smjeru da se okrene pa da pokuša svoje karakterne crte iz zatvora pretvoriti u nešto što ga tek obilježava i onda mu otvara mogućnosti da se razvijaju u drugom smjeru. Kako za ljudi to koriste eneagram u drugom smislu pitanja?
Well, in my experience, it's a journey. It's like you dive into this.
Znači nema onog, došao sam, naučio sam i sada sve znam.
No. That would be the instant coffee, you know, and we know it doesn't work. Unfortunately, we live at a time where people tell you that there are shortcuts. I'm lucky enough that I had teachers who said, forget about shortcuts. And you will learn until the last day of your life, but in a wonderful way. It's like, I would say, you can do seminars, you can read books, you can share with people who have done it. You can be, if you're curious, you dive into it. And one of the prayers it's a way of saying it, that I suggest to the people who study with me is to say, surprise me. You're saying to life and to the eneagram every day, let me discover something new. And so there is no shortcut, but you can do the seminars, you can do the reading, many different ways. The main thing for me is don't be in a hurry to discover what type you are. That's not the point. The point is this, I know the word in Croatian, bogatstvo, the abundance of life, you know.
Obilje. Gospođo Pikar, bit će sad možda, evo, život će vas iznenada iznenaditi sad odmah, ali eto, gotovi smo s razgovorom. Pa, znam da ste u životu putovali i živjeli i u Kanadi, i u Južnoj Americi, i u Italiji, stoga želim vam sretan put gdje god se uputili od tih lokacija. Mislim da je sad trenutno aktualna Italija, ako se ne varam. I do neke sljedeće prilike. Doviđenja.
Thank you very much. Hvala and u redu.
U redu. Pozdrav koji rješava sve probleme. Eto, hvala i vama na pažnji. U redu. Znači, razne tradicije svijeta preko tisućljeća su sačuvale i razvile razne metode oslikavanja neke unutarnje mape ljudskog bića kroz simbolički način, jer kako drugačije pristupiti neegzaktno, a svakako najvažnije od svih kategoriji duha i naravi čovjeka. I dok se on nikad ne umara, mi ipak da. Zato je vrijeme za laku noć.